The justiciability doctrine that I'm going to be discussing today is that of ripeness. So ripeness is basically ensuring that a case is ready for judicial review, and it's ready by requiring that it's an actual concrete dispute that exists between two parties, and it's not arbitrary or based on not facts. So courts can dismiss cases that are based on hypothetical or speculative injuries or events that occurred, and the ripeness doctrine prevents courts from issuing advisory opinions, which these involve actual live cases or controversies, and it also ensures that legal disputes are sufficiently developed before bringing them to a court, meaning that there's facts in the case, there's an actual developed case and not abstract or arbitrary questions involved. There's an actual dispute happening between two parties. So a case can be dismissed if it's hypothetical or speculative, or it's not ripe if it's a plaintiff that has not yet suffered real injuries or illnesses or something by the other opponent, or if the legal issue depends on future uncertain events in most cases, but a case can still be heard if delaying the review would cause significant hardships on the plaintiff. So a case can still be heard if it's if delaying it would cause hardships. So one case where this happened was with Abbott Laboratories versus Gardner in 1967. So pharmaceutical companies such as Abbott challenged the FDA labeling regulations that were about to be enforced before they were enforced. So it was a future event. And the government argued that the case was not ripe because no company had yet violated the rule or faced the enforcement action. So it's a future event, so they couldn't have brought it to the courts yet because it's not ripe yet. So the Supreme Court ruled that the case was ripe for review because future risks and penalties could have been implemented if the case was delayed. So they ruled that it was ripe, and the regulation imposed immediate and direct consequences on drug manufacturers, and that by changing the labels and the risk of penalties. So if they were to wait for the enforcement, it would cause this unnecessary hardship on plaintiffs and other people, which allowed the case to be heard. So this case brings the doctrine of ripeness to life because Abbott Laboratories demonstrated that when a law or regulation imposes burdens or hardships for the future, that review before the enforcement of a regulation such as this is appropriate and considered ripe.